What I feel for you, the
Hey everybody, it's Daphne here at Laura Entertainment, sitting down with David Seth Cohen, the guy from Finding Sandler. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
So let me ask you this. Why did you decide to get into the film industry?
Oh boy. When I was a kid, I always loved, making movies or entertaining people, right? When I was 10 years old, my cousin and I would create these like little short films and do little shows for our family to enjoy. And then as I got older, I did like this crazy radio show in camp when like the counselors would fall asleep. I would essentially have a bunkmate as an interview guest, and then the rest of the bunkmates would be my audience. So I was always into entertainment. I didn't realize it was a profession though. Growing up, it's just fun to watch movies and you enjoy television. So I guess when I got to college, I was a political science major. I was going to potentially become a lawyer. And my junior year, I was taking American national government. Then I took a state and local government class. At the same time, I took an intro to film class. And during the second semester, my mother called and told me that my friend Brad passed away. My friend Brad was in the movie Lost in Yonkers, which was written by Neil Simon, produced by Columbia Pictures a number of years back in the 90s. And Brad, always really tried hard to get into show business and actually made it. And I think when he passed, it, like some sort of like bell went off in my head, like he followed a dream, why shouldn't I? And so I switched my major from what was essentially pre-law to mass communications with a concentration in film and television, to the dismay of my family, of course. And that was pretty much it. That's how I got into it.
So you go from lawyer to film.
Yeah.
Turnaround right there.
Potential lawyer to film. Yeah.
So what is your favorite project that you have done yourself so far?
Oh gosh. I do a lot of corporate work, corporate video work. And I think, of all the projects that I've done, it really would depend on the genre, because there's, if it's comedy, it's one thing. If it's drama, it's another. So I mean, comedy, I think, Finding Sandler is a really cool project. Watching audiences react to that movie at the festivals that we've attended so far and that it's screened at, it's just been such a great experience. I mean, as a filmmaker, that's what you live for, an audience reaction. And so, seeing them laugh throughout the movie, and I'm talking like big belly laughs that you hear, in the back of the theater, that's great. So, that's my favorite as far as comedies that I've done so far. As far as dramas, I did a film, I think it was in 2015, for the American Heart Association. It was called the Survivor film. That's what we called it. Yeah. And it was about this 14-year-old, Gianna, who was a dancer, and she was passing out randomly when she would be at dance class. And all of a sudden, one day, she completely passed out. They couldn't bring her back, and they took her to the hospital. She got a bunch of tests, and they found out that she had a heart condition and she needed open heart surgery. Now, she was like a really superstar. She was a superstar dancer.
Yeah.
And all she really wanted to do was dance and go to nationals. The surgery that she got was about 6 months before nationals. When she woke up, the first thing she said to her family was, I want to dance and I want to go to nationals and I want to win. And like the people that worked at the dance studio that she, worked at, were like, oh, just get better. It's okay. Like everyone's thinking like, yeah, no chance you're recovering in 6 months and going to dance at nationals. She ends up dancing at nationals and she wins.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's an amazing story. The first time that film played, it was in front of 1,500 people at the Go Red for Women luncheon, which they have as a fundraiser. And there was not a dry eye in the audience when the film finished. She was up on stage, standing there when the film ended, and got like this rousing standing ovation, which was really awesome to witness. So that was probably, as far as a drama, the best that I've had, that I felt like I've created. Yeah.
So what's your favorite genre of film? What is your favorite?
I mean, I love comedy, because just, making people laugh, that's, a day without laughter is a day that really stinks. So if I could, make somebody smile or laugh in a given day, then I'm happy about that. So I'd say comedy, but I do love the dramas because it's the other emotion, especially when you're doing these fundraising films. I do a lot of gala and fundraising films, and the goal is obviously to move the audience because you want them to donate to the charity and to help those in need. And so there's something great about that as well. But I guess if I had to choose, I would choose comedy. Who doesn't want to laugh all the time?
Yeah, I love comedy, but it seems like every time I find myself doing horror movies. For
That's a
some
far
odd
cry from
reason.
that's a far cry from like comedy. But here's the thing. That's also moving people in a different way. It's making their heart pump. It's making them feel something completely different. So it's another great genre. Now, I love horrors. In fact, I do have a couple of those in development. I have like a sequel horror kind of thing, one followed by the other, that I'm ultimately hope to produce one day. So look, I just think film is cool because it moves people, and that's what we do. We live for the reaction of the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you would like the article that's up on Lore from the Horror Hounds. I went to Horror Hounds. I'm waiting on them. They never have Wrong Turn, because I worked with some friends here in Ohio on the new Wrong Turn movie, but it seems like they never get invited. And that is a big horror franchise, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it is. And I never see them ever.
My favorite horror movie is Scream.
Scream.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know what I loved about Scream? It had the scare factor, right? But it was so funny, and the mixture of that made you love the characters because they were funny, and then also kept you on the edge of the seat because you had no clue who the killer was. It's great.
Yeah.
Love that. That is definitely my favorite horror series.
I thought the one that I really liked, I mean, it's not the Scream movie, but it was that remake that they did with one of the Wayans brothers.
Oh, Scary Movie.
Yeah, that one.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Yeah. But I
You
know of
watch
it.
that.
Yeah.
Seriously. I think you'll crack up. So
I thought the Saw movies were good too. Like
yeah.
the first one was so creative and different, and the fact that they did it in like minimal locations,
Yeah.
huge. To me, if horror movies could be made on a low budget, especially if you keep them in a singular location.
Yeah, that movie kind of freaked me out when the person had to saw off their own foot. I was just like, oh, hell no.
Yeah. Way to give away the movie, by the way, to all your
Well, I
fans.
mean, I can't help it. It just popped in my head. But I remember that's the one thing I remember about that movie. It's been years since I've seen it. And I remember that part. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'm good. A little crazy thing riding around on the bicycle. Yeah, we're good.
It was definitely a wacky movie, but the twist was really cool at the end,
Yeah.
and the way the whole thing came together. I love those kind of movies that have like the surprise ending where you're like, oh, I didn't expect that. One of the movies that I love that had that is like, first thing, one of the ones that comes to mind, obviously Shawshank Redemption. When he crawled out of the hole, and of course I just gave that away to anybody that hasn't seen it. And I loved Usual Suspects. I know Kevin Spacey is kind of frowned upon it these days, and rightfully so. But that was a hell of a movie and a really cool surprise ending as well.
The Sixth Sense.
The Sixth Sense was, yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect that at the end. I'm not going to say what happened now because I don't want to spoil it for everybody. But
I
you know,
see
that
dead
was,
people.
yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving forward, what what do you have coming up? Is there anything big coming up?
I'm actually in development with a number of projects right now. Um, I guess some that I could kind of discuss. One of them is an animated action comedy for adults. It's
Okay.
called Code of the Samurai. So we recently wrote a pilot script for it, and now we're just kind of toying around with a little bit of animation to see where it goes and to be able to pitch it properly. So so that is it's definitely one of my favorite projects that I'm currently working on. I love it. And then there's this tennis comedy that I wrote a number of years ago. We had raised a significant amount of money for it back in 2019. It's called The Ball Boy. We had $2.5 million in our escrow account, and our investor had asked us to match the money in equity. We weren't able to do it in the time frame that he allotted for us, and so unfortunately we had to send the money back. So that project's kind of on the shelf right now, but in development
Because of
stages.
COVID.
I'm
Because
sorry.
because of COVID.
Yeah, COVID. We also times have changed a lot since the script was written. It was complete in 2018, so just everything's changed culture wise, and so there's revisions that need to be made to the script, and ultimately when we get to it, we will. I have a romantic comedy that I'm working on. It's called Missed Connection, and it's kind of a little really cool romantic comedy. And then a number of other projects as well in a variety of different genres, but none which are far enough along to really, discuss at this point.
That's fine. So Finding Sandler, have you put that out anywhere that other people can watch that, or is that just still in the festivals?
It's still doing the festival route right now. It's out. I think there's one or two festivals that have to respond to our submission process. I don't think after that we'll be putting it into any other festivals. I think it's we're going to stop, and then at the next phase would be obviously distribution. We've had conversations with a few distributors that have reached out. We haven't pulled the trigger on any deals yet. I think I want to see what happens with the next, if it gets into a couple more festivals. But at some point, I'm going to just have to let it out to the world, whether I get it to a distributor of my choosing, or whether it's a distributor that can just somehow, put it in a place where it could be seen.
You're picky like I am, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am too. I'm very picky about stuff. I watch everything that I'm doing.
Part of me, was debating on whether I should do the self-distribution route for Finding Sandler, because I think there's a built-in market for that film. But I don't really know too much about self-distribution, and it would be a lot of research, and I don't know that it's worth me putting in the time. It might be better off just to have an actual distributor take it and put it wherever it can go, whether it be on a big streamer, on a small streamer, on airplanes, for sale on Prime and Walmart, Redbox, wherever. So I'm figuring that one out, and hopefully my goal is to have that out at some point this year, somewhere. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so do you have any advice for the upcoming aspiring filmmakers of the world? Younger, older, doesn't matter.
Don't do it.
Right. No, it's good, but
no, my advice is really, if you're gonna go ahead, if you want to make a movie, right, then just make a movie. Don't wait, just do it. Just get out there and do it, whatever you can do. You have to have, I would say, if you're going to do it, make sure you have proper equipment, you have people that are willing to help you. Obviously best to raise a budget, have some money, You got to pay people. They'll be a lot happier if you're paying them than if you're not. But I would say, yeah, just, I say, it's funny. I say this to, I just spoke at Montclair State University in New Jersey. My film played in front of a group of 100 plus students, and there were a lot of questions. And, I said, look, the one thing that you have to be ready for if you want to be in the business is to hear the word no a shitload of times. And if you can't take no, don't get involved in the business. If you can take no, take it, and every time you hear it, get back up on your feet and fight again. And that's the only way to look at it. If you want to be a filmmaker, you want to even attempt to get in the business, you need to understand that it's not easy. It's like one of I would say besides sports, it's probably the hardest business to get into.
Oh yeah. I make that clear to everybody. I mean, people who submit to me all the time, and even talent. And I tell them straight up, look, if you're thin skinned, don't even do it.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to make it, because there are people out there like me, and I'm a ball buster. I'm just going to be honest with you, but I do it for the good of the people to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're going to see, that's why I don't manage kids, because I don't want to be that person to break their spirit when, they're told no, because then they're going to be PTSD over being told no. And it happens. It happens. And I'm not going to be that person. And I even tell the adults, look, don't expect to get famous, because it's not who's to say you're even going to still be wanting to be in front of the camera as we go forward. You got to learn how to take no.
Well, I mentioned my friend Brad before, the guy that was in the movie Lost in Yonkers that passed away. He had been auditioning for years. I mean, since he was a young kid. He got the gig on the movie when he was like 14 or 15 years old. And for years, his mother would take him in and out of the city, and he'd audition. And it took a long time for him to finally get hey, we want you. Yes, you're the guy. And, obviously when he got it, it must have been the most rewarding feeling ever. But it was a lot of him just trying and trying and trying and trying, and I think as like a filmmaker, it's funny. I met with somebody yesterday in Manhattan for drinks. He's a famous photographer, and we were talking, and he agreed. He said, look, these businesses aren't for everybody. It's not an easy thing, and you got to just keep pushing. You got to, and for me, I just keep throwing things to the wall and hoping it sticks. You know what I'm saying? There's something that hopefully sticks. And until you get that one thing that sticks where, you become a name, it's a tough biz. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even when you feel like sometimes you're doing good, and then, I mean, I've had it happen. When I first started, I knew, because I was untrained. Everybody is, but I believe training is key, definitely. And I was green. I'm not going to lie. And I knew, I knew. I was like, yeah, I got to get trained and then worry about it. Because business, yeah, I have that down. I've ran businesses for years. But the acting part of it, I knew I needed to be trained. And I did. I spent a whole lot of money and a whole lot of time getting trained. And people, you get those auditions like Mark Rufio. He was told no. I think it was like over 150 something times before he became famous.
Yeah.
Like, don't take it personally.
Yeah. It's you're just not their cup of tea for whatever reason, and that's how it is.
It could be the littlest thing.
It's it's funny. I equate it a lot, almost like in the dating world. Like I'm married, I have a kid now, but when I was single and I would go out, if I would go up to women and try and have a conversation, I always looked at it like, if I get 3 women out of 10 that talk to me, I'm an all-star, like in Major League Baseball, batting 300. So, in film, if you get like 1 out of 10 responses, it's a good thing, I think. So like you said, you just got to be ready for it. As far as training goes, yeah, I agree in certain aspects for that, but I also think that some people just have it in them because they have the charisma and the know-how to be able to use their emotions, use their words, and portray a certain way. Years ago, I met one of the actors that was in A Bronx Tale. He was the main actor, Lilo Brancato, and he and I had become friendly. This was a long time ago, way before he had like his run-in with the police and all that kind of stuff. But Lilo, I was talking to him and I said, "How'd you get the role on A Bronx Tale?" And he said, "I was walking on the beach. Someone came up to me. They thought I looked a little bit like Robert De Niro. They asked me, if I was interested in acting. I said, yeah, sure, why not?" And then that's it. They took him in, he auditioned, no training, and he got the part. So, I think some people have it in them to be an actor. Their training helps, don't get me wrong. But I also think, some people just kind of have that it factor. They know how to turn it on,
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I know you're gonna have to be going to get your son. So this is the one thing I have to ask everybody. Well, I don't have to, but I just do. What do you live your motto? What is your motto for you?
I have a couple of mottos, I guess. They're more like movie quotes that I love and that I always kind of live by. One of them is "Do or do not, there is no try." From Yoda had sent that in, I believe it was Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, one of those. It's true. I was on the phone with my buddy yesterday, and he lives in Hollywood, and I sent him something, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll try to get to it." I'm like, "Dude, what's with the whole try thing?" I'm like, "Do or do not, there is no try." He goes, "You know what? That's great." So he's like, "I promise I'll get to it in the next couple of days." So that's one of my mottos: do or do not, there is no try. The other one that I love is from another one of my favorite movies and another one of my favorite characters of all time, Marty McFly, who is Michael J. Fox. If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
I like that one.
So it's another one that I really like and believe in. So it's funny. I actually used that quote in Finding Sandler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of the producers on the project in the movie asked me. He said, "Oh, you might look like an idiot doing this. Do you care? What do you think about that?" And I said, "I'm doing this because I have to do this for myself."
Yeah.
And I said, hopefully in this film, I'll accomplish my goal and get to Adam Sandler. And I said, I brought up the quote. I said, I put my mind to this. So, if you put your mind to something, hopefully you achieve it. So that's how it came up.
I really want to ask you, but I know you're not going to be able to answer the question. Like, do you ever find Sandler? But I don't want to ruin that because it's in the festival.
You could watch the trailer and see if I get to him in the trailer. I think that kind of shows.
Okay.
But I can't give away the entire ending of the movie.
I don't want you to do that.
Yeah. I probably could, but it's funny. I had this debate with somebody the other day, whether if I tell the ending of the movie, will people still want to see what happens? Because then they'll know how it ends. So is it worth telling the ending?
Yeah.
And that person said, "Oh, I think people would see it even if you tell what the ending is." But I said, I'm still not going to tell the ending.
There you go. Yeah. All right, David, I'm going to thank you for being on, definitely. And I'm going to let you go get your baby from
thank you.
from daycare.
Yeah, he'll appreciate getting picked up and getting to hang out. He's only 4.5 months old, so
they don't really notice at that age,
Yeah. Well, he knows the difference between me and the people at the daycare center. So, there's
I think it's I don't know, a father and how it is with mothers, I think
he knows me.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure.
Yeah. I make him laugh all the time. So
4 months is a fun age though, because that's when they start getting those little belly laughs, and it's so hilarious. That makes me laugh just watching that.
He has this really cute, like You
Yeah.
know, like it's funny the little high note that I can't do it properly, but he's got this little high note,
Mhm.
and it's adorable. So
Oh.
yeah, you have any children?
Mine are grown, except for one. I have a 15-year-old. We have 8, and then there are 6 grandbabies.
Wow, 8
Wow.
children?
Not all from this body,
Oh, I was gonna say, wow.
but it's like a kind of a blended thing, you know. And then there's 6 grandbabies, but I
You're
don't
like
let
a-
them call me grandma because I don't feel like I'm old enough. I was like,
what do they
you
call
guys
you?
can call me Mimi until like I'm 65. Then we'll change it, you know.
All
But
right,
no.
you have like a whole like football team there ready to play.
Oh, I got a huge ass family. Huge family. I have 8 brothers, 3 sisters, and my grandmother, she had 14 kids. Yeah,
Wow,
Italian,
wow,
you know.
that's a lot of children.
But I know, you know, it's
I
just
just have one, so I guess he'll get like a lot of attention.
oh yeah. But well, I mean, moving forward, also if you have another one later on, it makes it easier for them to play together, you know, when they do that. But I mean, the big families, they're always fun.
Yeah.
Keeps
I'm a
them-
little old though to kind of keep having kids. I'm 47 now, so I feel like, you know, it's a late age to start.
I'm 43.
Yeah, well, you already have a bunch of kids.
Yeah, well, I'm done. I made sure of that shit. I'm done.
Yeah.
No more. If I feel like I have baby fever, I will go borrow one, take it home. You know.
That's great. That's great. Hey, while we're on real quick, how is the film industry in the Ohio area? Is it booming over there? Is there a tax credit?
Yep.
Oh, they have a tax credit in Ohio?
Yeah. That's why
Wow.
that's why a lot of movies are actually shooting here. Wise Guys is shooting right now. They just shot, God, I know 3 bike riders. I actually borrowed a motorcycle because I had sold mine last year to do that movie. And
Wow.
then this is the problem. Like one movie I was going to be cast on, my hair was too blonde. So I got sick of the bleach messing up my hair. So I, you know, made it darker, a little bit darker blonde. And then this time, even when I borrowed the motorcycle, my hair wasn't blonde enough. I was like, I can't win for freaking losing, but at least I have a fun, you know, motorcycle I get to ride around on, you know, for right now.
You know what you should do? You should Photoshop your hair color like multiple different ways and then send the pictures out and say, I can be any of these colors. Choose.
Yeah, but I mean, the blonde that I was before, it was frying my hair. It's too much. This is actually like my natural color. And I'm like, I'm just done. I'm not going to change my hair color unless I have to for a role. That's it.
I had blonde hair as a kid, but now I don't. It looks darker, I think, in here, and you can't see my grays, but I have a bunch of grays.
We'll
My
edit.
beard's gray. I'm freaking unbelievable.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, man, kids are fun, especially when they get to that 14-year-old phase, 15.
Oh, but then they want nothing to do with you.
Oh, they hate you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, they just hate you.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
hope my kid doesn't hate me. We'll see.
well, I mean, they don't like hate, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't want nothing to do with you. They don't want to be bothered by you. If you're talking
You're just not cool anymore. That's what happens. You're not cool anymore.
damn. But
That's how it works.
I will tell you one thing though that actually works is having as many as we do because they all like different genres of everything.
Uh-huh.
Music, TV, films, cartoons, whatever, the anime, all of that. So whenever I'm signing like a musician, they'll send me their stuff. I just take it to the right kid. Hey, do you like this? You know, it works. It's like
Yeah.
a focus group. I have my own little focus group.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wonderful. That's great.
Hey, if you ever need to borrow them, though, just let me know. And
Yeah, I'm good, but thank you.
no, I mean to run stuff by is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant
That's
to
a
keep.
No,
Yeah.
no.
That's great to know. Yeah. And different age ranges too, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. But
Well,
I'll
thanks
let
for
you go
coming
get the baby. And thank you
Yes.
for coming on. Thanks everybody for watching. And we will see you with the next one. Promise you that. All right. I'm gonna let you go. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, yeah. It's over, baby. You see it. that you love me. You said that you care. You say that you will die for me, girl, but you know that just hot air. I don't care what you say, I don't care what you do. No need to look to your left, girl, cause nothing belongs to you. Now you try me, you know you can't run them games on me. Now you creeping, I saw you stepping out with that G, yeah. Say what you wanna say, do what you wanna do, play